What's up, poopers? I decided to use a webcam. I obviously didn't use one up until this point because my face is just too hot for YouTube, right? But the reason I decided to use it now is whatever. I'm not getting any younger and my face isn't going to change, so F it. Let's try it out for this video and see how it goes. So I want to talk to you guys today about Elyon closed beta test 1. So it just went by, and going into it I was pretty skeptical because it's being published by Cacao Games, and anybody who's played BDO pretty much knows what to expect when you're playing a game published by Cacao. It's going to be overly monetized and predatory in a sense. So probably one of the reasons I enjoyed the CBT1 a little bit too much, I actually ended up barely sleeping the entire weekend, is because the cash shop didn't exist in the CBT1. So whatever monetization they're planning, it wasn't there, but just from playing the game's various systems, you can see all of the game systems, all of the progression. It's designed to be monetized. So it's just a matter of when the shoe drops. Aside from that, when you look at the game from the outside, it doesn't really look like it's that interesting. There's nothing really revolutionary about it. The graphics aren't super amazing. The game systems don't really look like they're doing anything revolutionary, but when you play it, what is actually happening is they're taking all the good features from Black Desert Online, and they're basically smashing them together with a lot of the good features with Tera Online. So there's a lot more group content, and there's a lot more direction and a lot more structure to the progression than there is in BDO, and there's a lot more things to do than there is in Tera, where Tera you're just kind of grinding your gear and then that's basically it. And so it's really engaging, it's really fun, and it still has that same really intuitive, really fun flowing combat system that Tera and BDO both basically have. There's not a whole lot of animation locking like in Tera Online, but there's not so much stuttering and jumping and flashiness like there is in Black Desert Online. So it's a very, very good balanced mix, and I had a lot of fun. It was really engaging, and I had no idea what I was doing at first, so I was getting smashed in PvP, but I picked it up. It's pretty easy to experiment with your builds. The builds are very flexible. You've got rune traits you can mix around, you've got artifact or skill points which you can switch around to upgrade your skills, and then you've got the mana tree. So Elyon basically takes Korean Grinder to a new level because there is no level cap, just like in BDO, but there are two forms of experience. There's a basic experience where you just level up your character, and then there's the mana experience, which you level up in dimension portals, grinding a special type of mob, and this will give you talent points. And to make things worse with that grind is that it's seasonal. So every 3 months or so, that experience pool resets, and you basically have to do it again for a new mana tree. I understand why they're doing it, for the longevity of the game, and those aren't even the parts of the game that bothered me. Overall, I had really positive things to say about the game. I had tons of fun. The things that I didn't like were all of the time gating. So this is a big issue for me. I hated it when it started getting introduced in World of Warcraft more excessively, with dailies, gating, reputation gains, and things like that. I prefer it in classic World of Warcraft, where if you wanted a reputation, you just grinded it out. Like Timbermaw Hold, you just sat there and you just killed them. Even in TBC, they didn't really gate reputations. There's that ogre reputation in Nagrand for the Talbooks. You just grind that out, you get the Talbook. As much as you want, you can do it. But for some reason, lately, a lot of games restrict the amount of time you can invest into certain forms of progression, and I really hate that. I really hate that it's trying to tell you when and how you can play the game. They do this a lot in Elyon, like an excessive amount. Like almost everything you can do in the game is telling you how much you can do it every day. There's a limit to how many daily quests you can accept. There's a limit to how many times you can run dungeons, which is pretty small. It's only 4 dungeons a day. There's a limit to when you can grind your mana experience for your secondary talent tree. There's an opening to these special portals about 4 times a day, and they only open for an hour. And then there's even a limit to how many rewards you can get from PvP in a day. So if you play the game efficiently, you can basically be done with everything you can possibly do except straight up grinding in like the first 2-3 hours you play the game. After that, you're just basically following the game's schedule on when certain things open, things like that, and it's basically telling you when and how to play, and I hate that. I really dislike that. I really hope they will change it, but I have zero faith that they will. I gave it feedback. I know a lot of other players who played the CBT gave feedback on this, but I really don't think it's going to change. I'm not sure if this is something they implemented because of a culture thing in Korea, in coinciding with PC cafes. or something about how the PC cafes time how players are able to play the game, so that they can maybe encourage players to not play so much or get as much done as possible in the limited time they can pay for access to a PC cafe, so that when they have to go home and study or go home back to work, they don't feel like they're missing out too much on the game. But we don't really have that culture here in North America, so having such an overly gated game doesn't really make sense, and I hope they change it. I really hope they change it, because that honestly was the biggest letdown for me in the game. Everything else was fun. There was tons of content. There was tons of mini games and quests. I never really got bored of these random brown quests. There was one where you had to change the color of kitty cats to make them all the same color, and I'm pretty sure I struggled on that way longer than I should have. And then there's one where they hide in a jar and it shifts around. There's these little treasure mini games. The dungeons have potential. They're pretty easy once you actually start paying attention to them. I think the first dungeon I did, there was rocks falling from the ceiling, and I didn't pay attention to them at all, because up until that point the game is kind of face roll, so I just wasn't paying attention to anything. And then I'm like, oh shit, there's mechanics. I need to pay attention to these. But once you start paying attention to them, they're pretty easy. The later bosses get a little bit more challenging, but it's more of a gear thing. There's definitely potential here, and I think if you try Elyon Online, you'll have a lot more fun than you'd expect you'd have. It's definitely a good game to tide you over. I don't think this is the sort of game anybody plans to main. So even though I've only played the CBT for about 3, 4, 5 days, I felt pretty far in the progression. I'm not sure how actually far I was, but I don't feel really like I would be super motivated to get the highest end gear perfectly enchanted right out the gate, because that seems like it is very RNG heavy. So to get to like a mid-level of progression, I think is fairly easy, but to get to top of the top, I can see where the RNG challenge comes in, because they have things like breakthrough items where enchanting it has a chance that the item just gets destroyed outright, and you can't really do anything about that to prevent it, not even using cash shop items. So that's just going to be a straight dice roll for everybody involved, and the guys who get lucky and dice roll a fully enchanted breakthrough item pretty early are just going to destroy all of their competition. So that level of heavy RNG doesn't really seem appealing to me, and maybe because that was held back in the CBT, like nobody was really pushing for those high levels of progression, so there wasn't this huge disparity between the top geared guys and the lower geared guys. That might have added to my enjoyment. So I'm not sure how much of a proper view I have on Elyon just from the closed beta test, but I guess from an initial impression, it was fun. I liked it. It was the first time I really got this addicted to a game since Classic World of Warcraft, so it was excited. It kind of reinvigorated my MMO drive, my desire to play a good MMO, and if I can't play one, maybe make my own, as I was working on in my previous videos. That's still on the table. I still have all the stuff in my head. I'm still thinking about ways that I might be able to make my own little shitty, non-monetized MMO, because I want to make an MMO for fun. I don't want to get rich off of it, because that would defeat I basically go against everything I'm saying right here. I would be a complete hypocrite. But yeah, overall, that is my impression of Elyon. So I do think the progression systems are a bit complicated and a bit convoluted, so I will probably release some videos, some guide videos, to help introduce new players to how to use the game systems, just so you're not so lost and confused like I was when I started playing, because I made some pretty stupid mistakes enchanting my gear and things like that. I really wish I didn't do, but I look forward to that. But I'm more excited today is the Ashes of Creation Alpha 1 test. It is under NDA, so I can't share anything with you guys, but I am excited. Just having the launcher on my computer gets me jitters. The music playing that you've heard in the trailers gets going and it's pretty exciting. I'm getting that feeling that you get when there's a new MMO coming out and you're about to jump in for the first time. In the case of Ashes of Alpha 1, it feels more exciting because I feel like nobody knows what's gonna happen, right? Nobody knows what's gonna be going on. I know other people have been testing it already, but that sense of wonder, that sense of excitement, it's still there for this game. Whereas other games, it always feels like it's a Korean game. Everybody knows everything already, or this game's been in beta for 3 months. There's already 100 guide videos on it. The freshness of this is getting me piped up. But yeah, look forward to more Ashes content coming up. Obviously, nothing with NDA, but I will be pumping some I will be putting some stuff out in regards to Ashes. I'm gonna make some Elyon content a little bit just to gauge the water, see how you guys feel about it. I think some of you guys are interested just to see more about what the game is about rather than just hearing me talk about my opinions on it. So I will do that. I also want to cover some of the TBC stuff, which is coming up soon. So I'll have some stuff of that preparing for the TBC launch and the pre-patch. So I've only got a few days on that, but I kind of dropped classic cold turkey without saying anything. So, but yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my face. If not, just tell me to fuck off. I won't use it again. That's fine. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day. I am pooping out.